Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the SCSA's Toolbox Talk Tuesday. My name is Riley Hancock. I'm a safety advisor here at the SCSA, and with today's time, we're going to go over a quick little toolbox talk on concrete burns. So, quick little disclaimer before we start here. When I say the word cement, I am speaking strictly of Portland cement. Portland cement is a key ingredient of concrete, but it is not the same as concrete. And Portland cement is actually what causes the burns here, but we'll continue here. Cement is a widely used building material, whether you use it on the job, or having some cement work done at your home, or are planning a do-it-yourself project. It is important to know what cement can do if you come into contact with it. So like in the picture here, concrete pours thick and cool, like a mud milkshake. On a hot day, it may even seem inviting, as more than one homeowner has stepped in, shoeless, to level the surface of a driveway. So the idea that this seemingly harmless substance could be responsible for severe burns runs counter to common perception. So cement is available in many different products for commercial and home use. It is available in a pure powder form, so a bag of just strictly Portland cement, or in pre-mixed forms such as concrete and grout, or the Quikrete that we see in the image above here. These different cement products have specific purposes. For example, you would use grout to fill spaces between tiles and mortar to bond bricks together. So a story taken from the workplace from 2007 of a mason worker shows just how dangerous concrete against your skin can be. So he was working a slip form concrete pour for a grain storage silo, a 24-hour operation that would take roughly 16 days to complete. It also involved cement masons, iron workers, laborers, concrete truck drivers, and concrete pump operators. So he was halfway through his 12-hour shift when it started to rain. The concrete pour continued, of course, and the rain continued throughout the next 6 hours. He finished his shift, soaked to the skin. Unfortunately, the concrete had also soaked through his clothing, working its way through to his hands, arms, knees, and ankles. Hours after leaving the job, his skin started to peel off his arms and legs. To quote the individual, it felt like the worst sunburn he had ever had. Other workers experienced similar problems, and one iron worker even went to the hospital emergency room, and health professionals applied an ointment that made the burn even worse. So dry cement is abrasive, but no more so than similar materials. It's wet cement that can cause chemical burns on the skin. When water is added to cement, relatively harmless calcium oxide becomes calcium hydroxide, which has a pH of around 12 to 14, so it's very caustic. While momentary contact with unbroken skin is unlikely to cause harm, after all, children have been putting handprints in wet concrete for ages, extended contact makes it much more likely that a burn will occur. This slow forming injury means that by the time symptoms appear, many people no longer associate the injury with wet cement. This leads to misdiagnosis and mistreatment that can make the problem worse, just like in the case of the iron worker we spoke about earlier. Some of the worst outcomes occur when cement gets into or seeps through boots, gloves, or clothing. By the time the person is aware of this, significant burns to the skin could have already occurred. The longer the cement stays on the skin, the more damaging the burn can be. Even after washing the cement off, the alkaline burn usually gets worse before it gets better. Concrete is highly caustic and works slowly, so a burn can develop over hours or even days. Left unattended, a concrete burn could blister, swell, ooze, and bleed. In fact, second or third degree burns may occur after short exposures. In severe cases, burns can go down to the bone, leaving disfiguring scars or disability. Skin grafts are not uncommon, and skin and tissue damage can be so severe as to require limb amputation. So we ask ourselves, how could something as non-threatening as concrete or cement result in amputation? Well, it really comes down to three factors. Number one, the abrasive nature of concrete and cement. Number two, its high pH levels. And number three, its stew of sensitizing chemicals and metals. So that Portland cement, which is in concrete and many other products, contributes to concrete burns and other skin problems. It often contains the metal hexavalent chromium, there we go, a toxic form of the element chromium that causes severe skin problems in some workers. So because concrete and Portland cement are abrasive, they cause micro cuts, really tiny scrapes and cuts to the skin. Portland cement is highly alkaline or caustic, and it actually can absorb moisture from the skin, leaving it dry and red. To realize just how foreign Portland cement is to the body, consider that water is a pH of 7, or neutral. But human skin is acidic and has a pH of about 4.5. Vinegar, a weak acid, has a pH of about 3.5, while battery acid or sulfuric acid has a pH of 1. Strong alkalis have pH values between 12 and 14, and wet cement is near the top of the charts with a pH that ranges from 12 to 14. For people working in or around concrete or other products with Portland cement, such as fresh mortar and grout, the damage is not always a burn. Skin problems range from mild itching and scaling to a disabling immune response skin condition that forces many workers to change jobs. These skin problems can be short-lived or persistent. They can occur after single exposure or after multiple exposures, and medical tests cannot predict who will get skin problems from concrete. The list of construction tasks exposing workers to Portland cement is vast. Some tasks are mixing and spreading grout, terrazzo work, hosing out concrete trucks, using mortar to set brick and block, mixing mortar, dismantling formwork contaminated by Portland cement, leveling and finishing concrete, mixing and applying plaster and stucco, spraying Portland cement products such as fireproofing or shotcrete, and grinding finished concrete or tuck pointing brick mortar. Clearly, hundreds of thousands of construction workers are exposed to the hazards of Portland cement products. Concrete burns require immediate medical attention. While in transit, many medical professionals advise flushing the skin with lots of clean water. Some medical experts recommend adding vinegar or citrus to the water to neutralize the caustic effect. Upon locating a medical professional, he or she should be told that the problem is a caustic burn from cement because that burn can look like a standard trauma burn. The skin blisters or is dead or hardened. It may even turn black and green. But treating a concrete burn with ointments that would soothe a normal burn more than likely will trap corrosive materials against the skin, which makes the condition worse. These skin problems also have a cost in worker productivity. Concrete workers have 4 times more lost work days for skin problems than do all other construction workers. In lost days, pain, and even hospitalization can be avoided by following safety guidelines. Workers, worksite supervisors, and employers all play a role in job site safety and worker health. So some tips to protect yourself as a worker: wash your hands before applying gloves. If your hands have concrete dust or irritating compounds on them, putting on gloves traps those contaminants against your skin. One study found that wearing gloves without first cleaning the hands is as damaging as working without gloves. Use a pH neutral soap and clean nail beds. Ask your pharmacist to suggest a pH neutral soap or cleanser to use both at home and work. As an FYI, most liquid hand soaps are pH neutral. Wash and dry your hands several times a day using a pH neutral soap and water. Wash before eating, taking a break, when you stop work, and whenever you remove your gloves. If clean running water is not available, use a commercially available hand rinse designed for cement and concrete work, or carry a vinegar-soaked washcloth in a plastic bag. The vinegar's acid cuts the alkaline in the Portland cement. Some more tips: keep your clothes separate, boots too. If you can't leave your work clothes at work, take them home in a separate container, such as a trash bag. Wash work clothes separately from your family laundry. Clean your car or truck interiors if you drive home in work clothes. One worker's daughter developed a painful skin rash and all treatment failed. The workers discovered Portland cement was present in the truck cab and boots. Once he cleaned his truck cab and started changing out the work clothes before getting into his truck, his daughter's skin problem disappeared, and so did his. Read the label and the SDS sheets. If possible, get the cement or concrete product bag and check for a safety warning and list of ingredients. Read the SDS sheets for the product. SDSs are required by law. They list the ingredients and possible health hazards. Everyone working on the site has a right to see the SDSs. Choose Portland cement without hexavalent chromium. The concentration of hexavalent chromium in Portland cement varies widely. Contractors and owners should purchase Portland cement with a hexavalent chromium content of less than 2 parts per million, which greatly reduces the risk of a concrete burn. See a doctor. A persistent skin problem, even a minor one, should be noted by a physician. Tell your doctor about the products you use at work. Avoid petroleum jelly, creams, and lotions with lanolin. Petroleum jelly or creams can seal the hands, but the abrasives of cement can break that seal. Applying these products at work could trap contaminants against the skin, again worsening the problems. Many creams and lotions have lanolin, which triggers allergic reactions in some people. Remove watches and jewelry. Rings, chains, and watches can trap cement and quickly irritate the skin. So we have a safety data sheet here for admixtures. Admixtures are added to the concrete batch immediately before or during the mixing of the concrete. Concrete admixtures can improve concrete quality, manageability, acceleration, or retardation of setting time. Among other properties, they could be altered to get specific results. Many, not to say all, concrete mixes today contain one or more concrete admixtures that will help your pouring process, driving down cost while increasing productivity. This makes it important to understand not only the health effects of concrete, but in the admixtures as well. So we have some admixtures here, some accelerator, air entrainment, and flowable fill. As you can see here, there are 3 admixtures and their health effects from the SDS sheets. When ordering concrete from the batch plant, they will ask what admixtures are required. Ask them where to find their specific SDS sheets for their products they are sending. They may be able to send them with the driver or direct you to their webpage or a supplier page to review them and print them off for your own records. So when wet concrete touches healthy skin for a brief moment and then is washed off, there is typically no reaction. Serious burns tend to occur when concrete is trapped against the skin for a longer period of time, often underneath clothing. Ironically enough, many concrete burns occur when an individual is actually wearing protective gear, but the gear is not appropriate for the job, it's worn out, or it's worn incorrectly. So a good practice here, wear long sleeves and pants when working with concrete, and they should be tucked correctly into gloves and boots. Make sure that boots are waterproof, they are in good repair, and at least as high as the concrete is deep. Gloves should be waterproof and alkali resistant. Keep all protective gear that has come into contact with concrete separate from everyday clothes, upholstery, etc. And if you are kneeling on or near concrete, use knee pads or something to create a barrier between your knees and the concrete itself. Now, while concrete burns may take hours to develop on most exposed skin, the eyes are extremely sensitive. Serious damage can occur in a very short amount of time. So make sure you always wear your eye protection when working with wet cement, and always know where you can flush your eyes in case contact does occur. Flush with clean, cool water for 20 minutes and call 911 immediately. So some things to ask: has everyone been trained in working safely with and around concrete? This includes apprentices and new workers, as well as those not working directly with concrete, but who will be in the area. Does everyone have the appropriate safety equipment? Does it fit correctly? Are there spares on hand in case someone's gear becomes contaminated? Are there appropriate first aid supplies on hand to deal with potential concrete injuries? This includes pH neutral soap, clean towels, and several gallons of clean water for flushing. Are the people on site trained in responding to concrete specific injuries? Generally, first aid training will often cover treatment for thermal burns, but not chemical burns. Responding incorrectly to an injury can lead to further injuries that might otherwise have been less serious. So taking the time to go through and make sure you have the right equipment, the right knowledge, and the right people increase the chances you will never have to deal with serious illness or concrete-related injuries. Rushing through safety checks and trainings might save a few minutes here and there, but this can lead to lost time and productivity in the long run, as well as damaging your reputation as a responsible provider of construction services. So that concludes the toolbox talk for today. Thank you, folks. The Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, the SCSA, is an industry-funded, membership-based, nonprofit organization that provides cost-effective, accessible safety training and advice to employers and employees in the construction industry throughout Saskatchewan to reduce the human and financial losses associated with injuries. Through our training services, gain valuable working knowledge of various health and safety management skills and principles that will allow you to administer or implement an organization's health and safety program through our Health and Safety Administrator and National Construction Safety Officer programs. You can also choose from over 50 online training courses that cover a wide variety of topics, including professional development, occupational health and safety topics as well. Look at our advisory services. The SCSA Safety Advisors provide hands-on support to help you develop, implement, and continually improve your company's health and safety management system. If you have any questions about the information provided or any safety-related questions or concerns, please reach out to us, the Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, and ask for a safety advisor. So that concluded the Toolbox Talk for today. Thank you all again for helping us make Saskatchewan Canada's safest construction environment. Take care.